What if I told you that you could pull 15% harder? That with this mental skill, you could perform 15% better? The Yerkes Dodson law states that for optimum performance, you need to have the right amount of physiological arousal. This physiological arousal, or stress, depends on the task. For really simple tasks, like pulling as hard as you can on an edge, the more stress, the better. However, on more complex tasks, it's better to stay calm and composed so that you have more control over your motor skills. To demonstrate this, I set up a little experiment after my normal hangboard routine. I pulled as hard as I could on my left and my right hand, and I measured the amount of force. This averaged about 45 kilos on both hands. Then I tried to increase the amount of physiological arousal by psyching myself up. This is a very common technique in sports like weightlifting. After psyching myself up, I managed to pull almost 15% harder with both hands. Now, before I continue, I should say that although I did pull 15% harder, I did also tweak my finger. So with great power comes great injury risk. Generally speaking, for most people, it's better to stay calm and composed on the sport climb. Generally, it's better to be a little bit more efficient rather than having some more power for just a few seconds. However, on short, powerful boulders, maybe you do want to psych yourself up so that you get that extra boost in power. And you don't need to slap yourself like I did either. You can just ask some friends to cheer you on. Of course, the optimum level of physiological arousal can also depend on the person. If you're more introverted, then maybe you will perform better if it's quiet. And if you're more extroverted, then maybe you will do better if people are cheering you on or if it's nice and busy. Finding the optimum level of physiological arousal is great, of course, but it's even better if you can switch it on or off on a moment's notice. And that's what I will be practicing today. I made a little circuit on the kilterboard. It consists mainly of jugs, but in the middle it has a few nasty crimps. The exercise for me is to climb as relaxed as I can on the jugs, then switch on and pull hard on the crimps, and then switch off again to continue with efficient climbing on the jugs. As you can hear, I start off very relaxed with deep belly breaths as I climb on the jugs. As I approach the crux, I switch to short, powerful breaths as a way to psych myself up. After the crux, I try to go back to the deep belly breaths so that I can climb relaxed and efficiently. But as you can hear, I'm having trouble with this. I'm mainly a boulderer, and I notice for me it's very easy to switch on and pull hard. However, switching off again and relaxing and being efficient is very hard for me. I'm still tensing up, and every now and then I'm even holding my breath. The first 2 days I wasn't too impressed with my progress, but then on the third day something clicked. I finally had control over my mental state. I started off climbing relaxed, just as before, and I psyched myself up for the crux, just as before. But for the first time after the crux, I managed to switch off again. You can hear that I'm back into deep belly breaths, and as I'm climbing, you can see that I'm efficient. I'm back into the flow, climbing as relaxed as I can in that moment. This is huge because, as you can see, for the first time I saved enough energy to do 2 laps on this circuit. This is amazing. Just think of all the routes that now have opened up because I'm able to climb a little bit further by relaxing again after the crux. I'm super happy with this result. I can now psych myself up and get 15% extra power, or switch off and get a little bit more endurance. My coach was watching and he suggested I keep practicing this, but also add technique and tactics. As you can see, I'm kind of throwing myself from hold to hold in the crux. He suggests moving a little bit more statically so that I reduce the amount of peak force on my fingers as I move from hold to hold. So hopefully if I move a little bit more statically and more elegantly, I'll be able to climb 3 full laps on this circuit. I'm currently in the mental phase on my journey from 7A to 8A in 1 year. So far it's going really well. This exercise is great, and I also found a way to deal with my fear of falling. If you haven't seen that video yet, make sure you watch it next. And hopefully the next video I upload will be me climbing my first 7B. Wish me luck.